Did I address the? Okay. All right. So we are on. And I should put this on better. Oh wow, I had the headphones on back. Okay. Okay. So we are officially starting day 4 of the ongoing teaching at Say Their Name Square. Uh, we had to do a audible on a play. The a book did not come in time, so we are reading Asada, an autobiography, instead of Our Prison's Obsolete by Angela Davis. But we will read Our Prison's Obsolete by Angela Davis when it comes in. The rest of the books we have here for the rest of these next 3 days. So this is this one audible on the play, but we will get back to that book. These are the books that we have read previously. On day 1, we read The New Jim Crow. On day 2, we read The End of Policing. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. And then on day 3, we read They Can't Kill Us All by Wesley Lowry. And we're building up the May 30th Alliance Community Library. Our plan is to have multiples of these books for people to be able to come out and grab them and take them with them. We have all of these videos and all of these readings and all the group messengers are all on live. So you can go back and watch those. We're going to get them uploaded on the YouTube too, so that way people can go back and watch those things and can read these books and then can watch people talk about these books and what the things and the concepts and the topics in these books, how they interrelate to the issues that we're facing in Rockford. And so before we start getting into day 4, we're going to do the rundown, but we want to encourage everybody, as many people to come out and do participate in the readings as possible. We want to encourage as many people to come out and participate in the group conversations as possible. So we got somebody who has not read yet that's gonna come and read the demands for May 30th. Man, we had the thing, but it popped off. The thing popped off, so you gotta it's cooler when it's on the thing. It just here. There you go. Yeah, like a side of it. Yeah. You see? Yeah. So it just make it easier for you to hear yourself. I'm gonna move this sleeping bag. My fault. I was trying to be cautious. You see?
Pardon the body.
Did you hear yourself?
Loud and clear.
Yeah.
All right, peace and love, everybody. This is the closest I've ever been to public speaking. But everything Leslie Ralph did in the May 30th Alliance, it just made me feel obligated to be out here, because I love what they're doing. They're doing it for the people, and I'm gonna read the rundown. On May 30th, 2020, a protest was organized by community activists in Rockford, Illinois, to march in solidarity with the city of Minneapolis, after the murder of George Floyd by police officer Derek Chauvin, and to bring awareness to countless victims of police terrorism in the city of Rockford. During the protest, speeches were given by members of a community and a march was held that ended at Rockford Police District 1. At District 1, after speeches, a handful of people at the protest had began throwing rocks at other objects at District 1 building. But after disclosure between community members, items ceased being thrown and no one was injured. The officers of District 1 stayed inside the building through the entirety of this happening. However, shortly after, a district commenter, Ken Wishland, led officers out of the building in rioting gear. Before any order of dispersal was given, officers of the Rockford Police Department began assaulting people in attendance of the protests using cruel and unusual forms of brutality and violence. Pepper spray, bullets, stumping, kicking, punching, tasing, slamming, and knees on necks were all used in efforts to terrorize children, teenagers, young adults, and the elderly. 10 people were falsely arrested and over 100 citizens were physically and psychologically damaged by the actions of local law enforcement. These are the demands of the victims of the police brutality attack on May 30th in Rockford, Illinois. Demands from the victims of May 30th police brutality attack. Excuse me, y'all. I'm choked up. I'm trying to get it together. 1. We demand all charges in connection to the protests on May 30th be dropped immediately. with no contingency on any agreements or deal being signed by the wrongfully accused parties. 2, we demand the city of Rockford procures an entity outside the Rockford Police Department to investigate the actions taken by officers on May 30th due to conflict of interest. 3, we demand the inherent bias findings of Rockford Police Department investigation and the findings of the investigation done by an outside source be released in full without redaction to the public. Sorry, I don't know that word. 4, we demand to be informed of the badge number and the name of each officer at Precinct 1 on May 30th. Informed of each officer who made an arrest and to be informed of each officer who discharged their tasers. 5, we demand all elected officials in the city of Rockford condemn the actions taken by Rockford Police Department on May 30th and also condemns the lack of results the investigation into the conduct of RPD on May 30th has been yielded. 6, we demand the city of Rockford make accommodations and pay in full for the services of counselors, therapists, psychiatrists, or anything else needed to help the mental health of those traumatized by the actions of the officers. The city should make accommodations for up to 12 months to pay these services for each individual. 7, we demand that all officers that participated in the violation of human rights of the protesters on May 30th be terminated immediately, and their crimes against humanity be punished to the fullest extent of the law. During the summer of 2020, weekly protests were hosted at City Market to raise awareness of the victims of the police brutality attack of May 30th in the city of Rockford, Illinois. For the first 5 weeks, these protesters have occurred with demonstrators assuming the role of pedestrians walking continuously on the crosswalk of East State Street and Water Street, horizontal to City Market. Megaphones were used to project the voices of activists speaking about May 30th, and siren functions of those megaphones were used to alert traffic of the ongoing demonstration and safely precaution. All of these things were occurred with no arrests and no laws broken. The Rockford City Police Department event went on as to set up roadblocks using police vehicles on multiple weeks. On July 31st, in concert with the Winnebago County Sheriff's Department, the Rockford Police Department assaulted multiple demonstrators on the crosswalk of East State and Water Street, in process of arresting 14 people. For the next 8 weeks, the Winnebago County Sheriff's Department and the Rockford Police Department, along with the city of Rockford and the county of Winnebago, conspired to use terroristic tactics to intimidate the citizens who participated in protests at the city market. People were assaulted in a myriad of ways, including being pepper sprayed and slammed to the ground in the process. 33 people in total being falsely arrested and jailed by the law enforcement. The demands from the City Market 2020. 1, we demand all charges in connection to the Rockford City Market be dropped immediately with no contingency on any deal agreement by the wrongfully accused parties. 2, we demand an investigation in the violation of human rights in connection with the City Market protests of the Rockford Police Department, Winnebago County Sheriff's Office, Rockford Park District, Metro Enforcement Agency, and any other agencies involved. 3, we demand all elected officials in the city of Rockford and Winnebago County to make a public statement about the violation of human rights of protesters by the Rockford Police Department, Winnebago County Sheriff's Office, Rockford Park District, and Metro Enforcement Agency in the connection to the City Market protests. 4, we demand the city of Rockford and Winnebago County make accommodations and pay in full for the services of counselors, therapists, psychiatrists, or anything else needed to help the mental health of those traumatized by the actions of those officers in the connection to the City Market protests, and the city should make accommodations up to 12 months to pay these services to each individual. Didn't I read this one already, bro? Pardon the body. Thought I read that twice.
No, you probably no. Some of them look similar. That was one of the things that we did purposely. Is some of the city market demands read similar to the May 30th demands, and some of the occupied demands read similar to the city market demands. Once we get to the end, once we get to
We demand the city of Rockford and Winnebago County make accommodations to pay in full for the services of counselors, therapists, or psychiatrists, or anything else needed to help the mental health of those traumatized by the actions of their officers in the connection of the city market protest. The city should make accommodations for up to 12 months to pay these services to each individual. 5. We demand that the Winnebago County Sheriff's Office return all personal property, including but not limited to cell phones, speakers, and 20 megaphones to the people who were arrested at the city market protest. 6. We demand the city of Rockford and Winnebago County ban the use of chemical agents by the Rockford Police Department, Winnebago County Sheriff's Office, and Metro Enforcement Agency at the areas of the city and county designates as protest zones. 7. We demand Sergeant Tom Brimhall's son, Adam Pickett, be charged for the assault and unlawful restraint for the actions he took on a protester July 31st at the city market protest. 8. We demand that Kathy Dermott be terminated from her position at Rockford City Market and be replaced with someone who puts the community's interests above economic gain. I'm a little choked up. I'm sorry about that, y'all. 9. We demand that Peter Provenzano and Rock River Development Partnership give ownership, all rights, and control of Rockford City Market to the city of Rockford so that it can be handled in a more equitable and democratic manner. 10. We demand that all officers that participated in the violation of the human rights of protesters in connection to the city market protest be terminated immediately and their crimes against humanity be punished to the fullest extent of the law. On October 3rd, 2020, a protest began in the form of occupation outside of Rockford City Hall after Tyrus Jones, an unarmed black man, was shot in the back by the Rockford Police Department officer Dominic McNeese on October 2nd, 2020 in Rockford, Illinois. The demands of the protester organizing the demonstration were as reads. 1. A press conference from Rockford Mayor Tom McNamara. 2. In press conference, Tom McNamara spoke on the shooting of Tyrus Jones and the ongoing police terrorism that took place in spring and the summer of Rockford. 3. Mayor Tom McNamara answered questions from the media at said press conference. The mayor instead released a Facebook post 2 days after the shooting in which he never even stated the name of the victim he was referring to in his statement. On October 5th, 2 of the protesters participating in the occupation were assaulted at the hands of Rockford City Police Department in the process of 6 people ultimately being arrested. Since the demands the protesters put forward were never met and full occupation continued through the attack, and for the next 6 months, protesters continually occupied outside City Hall, Rockford, Illinois. While doing so, police officers have harassed, followed, and threatened citizens. They have torn down structures being used to house people in deadly cold weather. They have stolen blankets, hand warmers, food, and clothes from the protesters in the middle of the night. The city officials of Rockford who work in the city hall have engaged in racist microaggressions throughout the entirety of the occupation, primarily executed in the form of white people weaponizing the police on people of color. Demands from the victim of Occupy City Hall. 1. We demand the charges in connection to the occupation at City Hall be dropped immediately with no contingency on any deal or agreement by the wrongfully accused parties. 2. We demand the ordinance violations, fines, and parking ticket issued by the city of Rockford in connection with the occupation of City Hall be dropped immediately with no contingency on or any deal or agreement by the wrongfully accused parties. 3. We demand the city of Rockford, the Winnebago County State's Office Attorney, and the Rockford Police Department to release all video footage of arrests made in the connection of the occupation at City Hall. 4. We demand each memorial and Say Their Name Square be up permanently without desecration from the city of Rockford or the city park district. 5. We demand the resignation of Assistant Deputy Chief Carla Red and Rockford Police Department Officer Brandon Mather for their assaults during arrests on individuals at Occupation of City Hall. 6, we demand Tom McNamara hold a press conference open to the public, addressing past cases of shootings by the police and the ongoing police terrorism in Rockford. 7, we demand the city of Rockford make accommodations and pay in full for the services of counselors, therapists, or psychiatrists, or anything else needed to help the mental health of those traumatized by the actions of their officers and employees in connection to the occupation at City Hall. The city should make accommodations up to 12 months to pay these services for each individual. 8, we demand that the city of Rockford and the Rockford Police Department return all property taken from the occupation, including but not limited to canopies, a cell phone, blankets, chairs, and megaphones to the occupation at City Hall. 9, we demand that Cal Saunders be terminated from his position immediately and be replaced with an individual that put the community's needs over the government's interests. 10, we demand that all bans from City Hall properly be lifted immediately without contingency on any deal agreement by those involved in the occupation of City Hall. That's all we got.
I'm still let you read, though. I'm just going to pop in real quick.
Okay, most definitely.
I'm going to hop in. Let me get in your spot real quick.
You good, bro? My bad, man.
Space. All right. Okay, that was the Rockford Rundown for Sunday, April 4th, day 4 of the ongoing teaching at Say Their Name Square. We're going to end this live, start a new live. In that live, we are going to begin to read Assata, an autobiography. I want people to know at 5 o'clock p.m. we will have a group discussion down here at Say Their Name Square about Assata and autobiography and how it interrelates with the issues and the problems that we're facing in Rockford as a community today. Also, tomorrow, 9 a.m. to noon, we will have breakfast out here in the form of donuts. That's going to be every Saturday and Sunday in the month of April. So please come out. We will still be reading Assata in the morning. We're going to start up a new live. Go watch that live. We're going to start reading this book. If you up, you moving, you out, please feel free. Come out, read. You can read 10 pages, 5 pages, a chapter, 2 chapters. Come out and participate. So we finna end this live, start another live. Go watch that live, share that live. Hit finish for me, Rabbit.